Welcome back. I'm Adrienne, your expert on all things custom home building and luxury. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend how much fun we have on the Frazier Homes channel. So today we are talking about what to do with a process that is inherently out of control. Well, when you say out of control, that sounds like things are topsy-turvy and things are not managed well. But when I'm saying out of control, it means that the process has a lot of variation. Okay? So what out of control means, besides being a ton of variation, is unpredictable results. So an example of unpredictable results when we're talking about construction is I can't predict what selection you're going to make. So here's an example. If you decide that you're going to get a luxury vinyl plank flooring, okay, though that type of flooring has a particular way that it has to be installed if you're not going to have a quarter round or a shoe molding, okay? And that could be just a regular hardwood as well. So if you decide you're not going to have a shoe molding or a quarter round, then the timeline in which I install your flooring is going to look different. That is unpredictable because I don't know from the onset if that's what you're going to do. Remember, we're building fully custom. So while we can get as much information when we are putting together the specifications and when we are putting together the contract, there's still going to be some unknowns. So unpredictability makes the process inherently out of control. Okay, I already said high variation, inconsistent execution. So when you have vendors who have turnover, when you have subs who have turnover. So we had someone who was our consistent framer for the purposes of this case study. They're our consistent framer, and now they've moved on to another framing outfit, and now we've got someone coming on the job who is new to framing, or maybe they've had the experience but they just haven't worked with Frazier. That kind of inconsistency is going to create a process that could be inherently out of control. Okay, frequent reworks. So what that is, punch list and rework, and that's tied to quality. You know that we want 100% AAA rated quality. And so when you have rework, because there are some misunderstandings in how an application can go, this is going to create an inherent out of control process. So what do you do to try to skinny that down? Here at Frazier, what we're trying to do is we want to limit variation, okay? As it's very difficult because we're not building the same house twice. You all know that there are four different types of builders. There is the production builder, the semi-custom, the custom, and the fully custom builder. You know that. So there is going to be a ton of variation in our process. But if we follow our proven process, so that means that we're not introducing vendors that we have not worked with in the past. We are not introducing materials that can be problematic when it comes to the application or the install. All of those things create variation, which creates more time on the project, and it also creates a lot of rework. Okay, so when we're deciding where are our issues, where are the inherent causes, we do what's called the 5 whys. We'll do another episode on what the 5 whys are. That is a really, really fun tool that anybody can use to get down to root cause. All right, and so feedback loops also, when you are talking to multiple people, there needs to be a central point of contact. Here at Frazier Homes, we want you to be talking to your project manager and your selections coordinator. that should be done in concert. There should be an interdisciplinary team. We've talked about interdisciplinary teams when it comes to the design phase, but when it comes to actually the execution of your project, your interdisciplinary team is you as the customer, your project coordinator, and your project manager. Everybody needs to be on one accord, or we start to balloon in variation. All right, so finally, let's talk about what not to do, okay? We don't need to add pressure to the process. Pressure makes it so that people feel like mistakes are chronic or they are on the horizon, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a mistake. It's just that because of variation, you have to be agile in how you address. Okay, we're not adding new people to the process. So when we have designers that want to be part of the process that is outside of their scope, it creates a process that can be out of control. It creates the variation. Don't jump to solutions without the root cause. Remember, we talked about the 5 whys. We're going to do that episode. We need to know what root causes are when we have the inherent variation. Now, we talked about some that are external to the process, but when we're talking about process anomalies because of some things that are going internally, we don't want to arrive to a solution without coming to the root cause. So an example is if we thought that there was going to be a beam structure on the front elevation of the house, and that beam structure is more cosmetic and not structural, that issue right there can be a can cause problems in terms of what materials we're using, how the framing is happening, etc., etc. And what we don't want to do is just put lipstick on a pig, if you will. Okay? And so this process is full of variation and it is inconsistent, but that's the reason why you need a trusted builder who knows how to wrangle that in and manage that. That's what you get here at Frazier Homes. If you have a fully custom home builder who has a completely out of control process that they don't know what to do, it means they don't know the difference.